Okay, so if everyone can please come on camera, and we're gonna start our talk today, and we'll start it off with a big three Hari Bols. Hari Bol!
Haribo!
Hari Bol!
Haribo!
Bol!
Haribo!
Okay, so
Haribo!
is everything all set? You have your co-host now, so you can share the video and it'll be good.
Thank you, Sumya. Thank you again, everyone, for joining Vajra Sangha. As we are continuing last session of Vaishnav Etiquette, and we are really talking about the essence of Vaishnav Etiquette, which is the most primary of fundamentals. So last week I was not able to complete everything, and after that we have one other very short about Dham Yatra. So that we are our part today. So as we're talking about sadhana, and we can recap few things that we learned last time, that how a sadhu is known by the sadhana, right? How sadhana is, it represents a sadhu. So it is very, very important that we have to maintain a proper sadhana in our life, right? And what we discuss is, like, even as Rupa Goswami described, the 64 angas of bhakti. So among them, the five principal angas that we read, this like Vigraha Seva, Bhagavad Shravan, Vaishnav Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Mathura Vas. Right, these five are the most prominent angas of bhakti, and among them, the Nama, right, the Nama Kirtan is the topmost, and the all bhakti actually can stand under this one anga of bhakti. So that's why we can see that we understood that, like, how our chanting in bhakti is so much important. As Prabhupada said, 99% of our spiritual advancement depends on the holy name. Right? The Nam Prabhu, we have to take shelter of the holy name. Without taking shelter of holy name, it's very, very, very difficult. That's why the whole process of Kali Yuga is Nama Adhar. Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Vigraha. Right? So in Kali Yuga, that our main shelter is Nama, right? And that's why it's very, very important that we take the chant the holy name of the Lord. So, and we discuss about a lot of aspect about japa, right? That how japa has to be exclusive activity. We have to be so focused on japa. Nothing else should come in between when we are chanting the japa. There can be so much distractions, but we have to train our mind in such a way that this is now time for me and Krishna, nothing else, not even our mind. We should not even allow the mind to come in between us. So that's very, very important aspect, right? And for that, we discussed that, like, how we have to have that intense desire, right? That I want to improve my chanting, I want to develop that relationship with Krishna, is very, very important, right? First desire, then deserve, right? Deserve, then, like, that's why we have to have a proper desire. A right desire is so much important. That's what we learned, right? And then we understood that, like, the process of attentive hearing, right? So there are so many techniques we talked about, like, how we can develop our attentive hearing, right? We should always, whenever we're chanting, we should hear the name, hear the holy name, which help us to focus the name, right? And it actually connects us, right, much better to the holy name, right? And also have to have firm faith that holy name is going to protect us. This is the way, and it's really, really valuable for our bhakti, right? And also, we talked about, we need to understand the meaning of Mahamantra. Whenever we're chanting, right, the understanding of sometimes anything we learn, like, if we know the meaning, what exactly it is, it actually enhances, or it can make give us much more conviction, right? Or our prayers, our activities, our actions becomes much more deeper in that aspect. So that's why it is very, very important to understand. And we discuss about the meaning of Mahamantra, where It's more about calling for service rather than question, our engagement, because that's our primary goal of life. Bhakti means, which we're going to talk about, that bhakti means engaging ourselves, right, in devotional service. And some aspect we talked about the prayerful mood. We always have to be in a prayerful mood, right? Prayers are something. It is said that, like, no, there is nothing works. The only thing that remains is a prayer, right? So it's very, very important that we have to have this prayerful mood, seeking blessing from the holy name, right? We have to really dive deep and ask the holy name to really, really, help us, to guide us and to purify us. So that prayerful mood is so much important. And also we talked about this right motive, right? So intention, why we are chanting, dhanam dehi, stream dehi, putram dehi, all this aspect the material desire, this is should not be our right motive, right? So it's about more purification, that love, that attraction that we need to develop for the Lord, right? That's our right motive. And also need to have a right environment, right? Based on our proper environment, the sanctity of the place, right? Actually, we can cultivate a right mood of chanting. It actually enhances. It becomes much more convenient for us to have a right mood. So it's very, very important that we should always, right, have a right mood, um, to chant. And the other thing is, we understood that right mood is humility. We have to not be sunichina tarori vasishna amani na manadena kirtani sadahari. We should be always in a humble mood. There's no competition here. We don't want to try to be best of anything. We just want to serve. In a service, a servant has no pride. That's one of the quality of a servant. So that's what the right mood of developing. We need to develop that right mood of humility, right? And we understood that japa is not a race. We're not racing to get something. You know, it's not like finishing a round. So we don't have to be fast. It's about, a proper hearing, right, and doing it right. That's the main thing. And also we talked about how the association can actually help us to improve our japa, because by sharing the realization, the opportunity, the experience one has, actually enhances each other to grow in our chanting. So other thing is japa is best in association. When we are chanting together, all of us, coming together, it actually enhances. It actually is the best than alone, because there is always someone to, correct us, if we are sleepy, somebody, all those things will help us, right? And also, we talked about, four regulatory principles, which we have to have this purification of no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, all those things, right? We talked about. And also we focus on avoiding non-devotees association, how it can be dangerous, right? Alochite Mahaprabhu says, Mayavada Bhashya Sunde, Holy Sarvanas. It can actually destroy our bhakti root. Even the bhakti lata bees can be destroyed. So it's very, very important that what kind of association we have, what kind of friends we have, what kind of actually that inclination of our life actually develops based on our relationship, what kind of circle we are, right? So that's why the association of devotees is so much important, because they remind us over and over. You may like it or not, but they will remind you, hey, what is our goal of life? What we are doing, right? It reminds us, and hey, you shake it up, because we try to tend to sleep in terms of in our material contamination, or material condition. So that association can help us to awaken us that we have to be in the right track. So these are the things we discussed. So today we're gonna touch upon uh, other principle, that is of reading. So if somebody would like to read, kindly please go ahead.
Ranjit Prabhu.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Devotees, devotees should daily read the books of Srila Prabhupada for like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. One may begin with the smaller books like Nectar of Instruction, Perfect Question, Perfect Answer, Krishna Consciousness, Matchless Gift. Other books should be avoided. Reading must be done in serious, attentive, and systematic way, and not casually like one would read a novel. It is advisable to take notes as one reads and to memorize important slokas. Reading is necessary to improve our philosophical understanding. It strengthens our conviction, faith, and determination. Reading is important for a preacher. Reading is also hearing. One should also avail of the good collection of lectures that are on tape in the temple library. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So we can see here that how much effort we should put on reading. We can see actually Srila Prabhupada, most of the time actually he spent sleepless night just to write this book, just to translate this book, just to write this purport for all of us. Right? He spent so much time actually even in a deathbed. Just imagine in a deathbed, someone spending time to translate these books. Right? So it's so much important, so much emphasis is Prabhupada always giving. You have to read my books. I live through my books, right? My instructions are through my books. So these are very, very important that we need to always keep association with the scriptures, right? In Bhagavad Gita, there's a beautiful verse. Tasma Shastram Pramanante Karyakar Vivastito Kyatva Shastra Vinoktanam Karma Kartum Hasi. So Tasmat Shastram Pramanante. So Shastra actually is a pramana to Karya Akar Divaso. What to do and what not to do. How do you know? Right? Actually, it is guided by the Shastra. Krishna says. Right? And Gyatva Shastra Vinokta. When we know, oh, this is what actually in Shastra says. This is what our prescription is given us. These are the rules and regulations. What are do's? What are don'ts? What do we have to do? What's the goal of life? How can I achieve this? Everything is given. If you want to enjoy, here are the ways to go to heavenly place. If you want to do this, everything is given to us, right? So based on that, based on the desire, you can have karma kartumahirasi. You can do the action, right? But as a devotee, right, we want to develop that love of God. But how can we achieve it? Through the shastra. The shastra actually is a guide, right? Because sometimes we want to go somewhere, so it's like a map, GPS. It's called Guru Parampara system, right? So it will help you. Even you are misdirected somewhere, the GPS will always reconnecting or rerouting to the right place, right? So that's what the Shastra does to us. It's bring us to the right track. So it's very, very important that we should read. We can start from a smaller book if it's too much, like reading Bhagavad Gita or everything. Like they are very beautiful book like Science of Self-Realization, Perfect Question, Perfect Answers. These are actually very nectar of the instructions, very small books, but very powerful book. Actually, can give a lot of foundation about Krishna consciousness, right? So we should start with this reading, every day some of the books, right? It's very much focused, and also we should try to avoid unnecessary books, which can when we are not mature enough of understanding a proper understanding of the proper scriptures. What happens is it can create more confusion. So it is very, very it is instructed that we should not jump on so many books here and there. Slowly start, but deeply understand. That's why reading has to be attentive. This is like making notes, you know. So it's very important because what reading does, it develops a faith, a conviction on us, right? That oh wow, this is whenever somebody quotes a verse, then it becomes authentic, time, right? It becomes a oh, wow, this is from the scriptures. I have to accept it. That conviction comes out of scriptures. So that other important thing is we need to memorize the important sloka. Memorizing verses are very, very important. Actually, it helps. So it actually also what memorization will give us is to understand the essence very in shortcut. So that's why if you see the scriptures, actually those are kind of sutras where we can, and the slokas as sutras opens up, right, everything. So we need to do all these things, many kids, many youths, many they are practicing this, and actually it's a very good habit. Prabhupada loved it, like when they recite the verses and practice those verses. Even Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita, Anudvega karam vakyam satyam prayam hitam chay, right? वांग्मय तपो अनुद्वेग करम वाक्यम सत्यम प्रियम हितम च यद स्वाध्याय व्यासनम चैव वांग्मय तप उच्यते. He says that what actually is truth, right? Right? It can be truth. He says that satyam priyam hitam ch. It has to be it has to be truthful. Definitely, it has to be truthful. But is it hitam ch, like it is beneficial, and is it palatable? Priyam, right? Is it good? Is it nice? Right? But how you can know by swadhyaya. Swadhyaya comes from reading, by learning, by understanding, by going. When you understand these scriptures, then it actually help us to understand what actually truth is. So it's very, very important. And one very good point over here is we should always collect. If I hear some lectures, I really love it, or some topic is there, you make a note of this, you make a list, right? If I love some verses, you make a list, you make sure. Nowadays there are so many apps, so many facilities are there to save. You don't even have to write. There are so many online, you just copy paste, you just make some notes. Oh, this is for this sloka. It's very helpful whenever you have time, and you can memorize this. So very, very important that we focus on this kind of activities. Actually it can be very, very beneficial. It is very much recommended. Even the prayers, it is said that memorize those prayers, prayers of Kunti Maharani, prayers of Vritasura, prayers of Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. Many, even Chaitanya Charitamrita one time actually he was sharing when he was very sick. He had actually memorized entire Bhagavad Gita, and he used to recite all those verses of Krishna and Arjuna. You know, so that actually connects. When we are, old, nothing is working. At least if we have memorized the verses, it's always beneficial. The verses. That is very, very important to memorize the sloka. So next section is devotion service. If somebody wants to read,
I can read, bro.
yeah, please.
One should try to engage in some specific seva for the mission of the spiritual master. One may consult one's counselor in this regard. B. There are also different kinds of seva that may be performed in the temple and in the temple programs.
So thank you, Prabhu. So it is very interesting how Prabhupada, even when translating bhakti itself, it translates into devotional service. It's not just devotion, devotional service. Because until unless there is engagement for ourselves, there is no questions of like bhakti. The development of bhakti will take longer time. So that engagement is so much important. That's why Krishna, when Prabhupada actually said it's a Hare Krishna movement. It's not stagnant, staying here. Oh, you just do. No, it's a movement. You have to keep moving, do something, right? And that's what is required. And it's very, very important that we should take a mission. This is something I want to spend my time, my effort here for this kind of service. Like actually have some mindset. I can be engaged. That's why also like bhakti is not like a kind of speculation. It has to be guided. Guidance is so much important, so much important, right? That's why we need guru to guide us. What is right or wrong? Even we might do imperfection, right? But when we are guided with instructions for empowerment, I think last week also we discussed. When we follow the instruction, the guru actually empower us. We think, oh, I might not be able to do it, but when actually we have this desire that I want to follow this instruction from my Guru Maharaj, I want to follow this instruction from my Siksha Guru. The empowerment, Krishna will empower us actually. When Prabhupada instructed all these hippies, the foreigners, they have so much knowledge about Krishna consciousness. How much time they have, but they were going to different countries like China, Japan. Somebody would be reading some Prabhupada Lilamrita, and they were sharing. It's how amazing, like for example, actually the past time, how he was going to Japan, in a lot of country, those country, and preaching Krishna consciousness, right? Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Malati Mataji, like all these devotee going to preach. George had to transform them, and you see the London all transform it. This is all empowerment of Prabhupada. Nobody they knew. So that's how it is. So we have to have that. We should be a missionary, right? Even in a small scale, right? Do some service, engage yourself, particular service, like take it as something I want to offer to my guru and Srila Prabhupada. We have to have that desire all the time. I want to do something for Krishna and keep engaging, right? It's very, very important. So there are so many services in temple. Ramchandra Prabhu always like, we have to. This is us actually. Service should be in our blood, right? This should not be time for laziness. Everybody has to be engaged in service. Something is there, don't wait for it. Just go and jump. We have to do something, right? Somebody, oh, this is their duty or something. No, jump, do it. That action has to be shown, right? And that's what it is all about, devotional service, right? Did you worship? Somebody wants to read?
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Yes.
It is deity worship. It is very necessary for all the grahasthas to perform worship of the deities in their homes. The deities may be pictures or made of wood, clay, marble, metal, etc. The altar may be designed and arranged according to one's means. One may take assistance of the other devotees in regard to details of setting up the altar, procedures and standard of worship, paraphernalia required, etc. Worship of Gauranitai as the presiding deities has great benefit for homes, although worship of Radha Krishna may also be done. A standard altar is Guru, Param Guru, Gauranitai, or Panchatattva and Radha Krishna. It is not expected that standard of deity worship at homes will be like that for installed deities in the temple. Yet efforts must be made to assure regularly of worship according to one's schedules and circumstances. Coming to the temple is always the priority. We may put our home deities to rest for this purpose.
Thank you. So we can see that actually Prabhupada always emphasized that deity worship should be everyday thing for grihastha, for devotees actually. Because many devotees who are living in temples, like they have to attend Mangala, they do certain thing that is connected to deities, right? If it's Brahminic initiated, they are always engaged in deity worship, engaged in everything. So as a grihastha, it is very much emphasized that we must have deities at home. Must. Why? Because whatever we eat, right, we have to offer somewhere, right? And it can be any form, like it can be a simple picture, can be made of wood, something, right? It can be clay, metal. At least have a deities. Try to develop some kind of relationship. And deity it is not very ordinary. Like Prabhupada actually did a beautiful video about how Prabhupada gave an example of what it is not different than the Lord Himself, the deities, right? Just like the post box, right? So the post box actually is a post office. It works completely. If you put a mail over there in the post box, it goes where it needs to be. Even in miles and millions of miles, it will reach. Why it works, right? Because that post box represents the post office, right? If we just paint like similar to post box and put it, you put a mail there, it will stay forever, right? But that particular post box represents the post office. That's why the deity actually represents the Lord. So that worship, that connection developing, it is very, very important. And we have seen so many pastimes how the deities reciprocates when we really develop love with the deities, right? And that's what we need. We need to set up a beautiful altar, a place, like many grihasthas that I've seen, like they have, and that's very wonderful. We should do it, have the deities, and also like we can ask the devotees, how we should align the deities properly on the altar, right? The standard, right? And we have like Padmada Prabhu, he can guide us. We might not know certain things, the mantras, offering mantras. We are just starting. We can ask devotees here how you do, what should be done. Those will help you. Those devotees are there to help. So take help. As it is said, that it's not like we need to make a standard of deity worship, just like in a temple. We don't have to, but we should try our best. This is practically actually I myself try to do is I've been worshiping deities like with my wife. She got it from Vrindavan, but every single day, we dressing up the deities, you know, doing abhishek. I have a lot of saligram every single day, like taking some time, and that's what we have put also as a priority, right? And many devotees like they change the dress on Ekadashi. That's also very nice. But for us also like it's a very daily routine, and it has been actually if you make a habit, it becomes very normal too. We just have to make it a priority also in that way. So it has been like by mercy of the Lord, we are able to serve them in that. So we should continue and like put some effort in doing the deities. And if sometime like for example we have to travel somewhere, either we give the deities to some devotees to worship, or we can take them, put them into rest, right? And then somebody can read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I can read on this. Certain minimum requirements are, for example, everything cooked in the home should be offered to the deities. It is suggested that Aarti be performed at least twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, accompanied by Kirtan. All Aartis must be preceded by an offering. While performing Aarti, one must not talk, gesture, look back, etc. While the family is out of station, the deities may be put to rest. Children may also be engaged in the worship of deities. Taking care of deities, preparing offering for them, stitching clothes, and making jewelry for them is very nice, purifying engagement, and all members of the family may be involved.
Thank you, Prabhu. So we can see that. So how, like in the beginning, I was talking about we should whatever we are eating. Krishna says, "Yajna sistasana santo muchinte sarva kilbisai." Until and unless that is offered, it's still a sin. Even it may be a vegetarian food, doesn't matter. Krishna says it has to be offered to the Lord. Very, very important, right? So we need to offer to the deity. That's why we need to have a deities, right? And we should also try to do arti. There are a lot of setup, like we can already online. So many bhajan kirtans are there. The samsara dava. You can make a playlist, and during the deity worship time, when you do arti, you can at least do dhupa, deepa, and at least a flower to the deities, right? You can offer to them, and you can play the kirtan if you don't know, but you'll catch up. You try to practice through those audio. If somebody needs those, we can also help you. Which are to be played during what kind of arti has been played during the darshan arti. But you can play everything in one shot when you do the offering also. You can start like that. So actually, it also engage the kids, like the children in the home. They learn. Actually, even I was surprised. I was showing some devotees the video of my son. He was learning mantras. Actually, you'll be surprised. Like I wish I could show in the video, but he learned like mantras. Everything, anything he needs to eat, I always have trained like you have to offer to the Lord, and you just go to the deities, you put things and you chant, please accept it. He says like if it's offering candy khanos, like please eat, God nitai, this is this. And he actually learned mantra like offering like Chama mantra, it's called, like if there is a mistake, antrahinam kriyahinam bhaktihinam janardana yat pujitam madhava paripurnam tadastami mantra, he actually learned himself, and he does every time. And that's so amazing for me too, like he catching up things. So that's why when we learn, we practice at home together, the kids will learn, and it's also very much beneficial for him. And it's also engaged, like trying to make them some detail, like clothes, making them jewelry whenever we have time. That also is very, very wonderful, right? So again, next. Somebody wants to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, please. Ashish Prabhu.
Tulsi Devi, Where possible, the Tulsi plant may be kept in the house. Proper exposure to sunlight and watering are required. Her leaves may be put into each offering for Krishna and also at his lotus feet. It is to be noted that Tulsi leaves should not be placed at the lotus feet of Guru or even Srimati Radharani or in the offerings to the Guru. Tulsi leaves may, however, be placed in Radharani's hands. Tulsi Devi is Krishna's favorite plant. It is said that Krishna doesn't accept the offering unless Tulsi is present, when available. If possible, worship of Tulsi Devi may be performed. Special care should be taken while stitching deity outfits and making garlands. For threading the needles, saliva should not be used. Flowers, clothes, etc. should not be placed on the floor, but on a special cloth for this purpose. Only fragrant and uncontaminated flowers should be offered.
Thank you, Prabhu. So we see that we always talk about the importance of Tulsi Devi. Means she is a Bhakti Pradayani, right? Vrindai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavate Namah. Actually, she can give us Vishnu Bhakti, right? Yani Kyani Sapa Pani Brahma Hatya Dikhani. Even somebody has done a sin of killing a Brahmana, she can actually destroy the sin. That's a power of Tulsi Maharani. That is very, very important that we always, every day, worship Tulsi Maharani. Again, water, as required, definitely says. And also offering the Tulsi. We should not offer to all kind of deities, only Vishnu Tattvas. We can offer Tulsi Maharani. And as we know, that Tulsi Maharani is favorite plant of Tulsi, Krishna. And we have seen so many glories how Tulsi have acted, during the Govardhan, all the foods, so many preparations offered, but Krishna was never satisfied. He was not satisfied. He was saying, Aniyor, I want more and more. But when Tulsi was kept, he was fed to Govardhan, and he got satisfied. So Tulsi has so powerful that even actually in the verse in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, you may bhakta prashadi. Even that Patra represents Tulsi Maharani, right? So it's very, very important that we should try to even worship, even in Vedic culture, every house, outside the house, everybody had Tulsi Maharani. They used to do pradakshina, do worship of Tulsi Maharani every single day. It's very, very important. We can also, very important also stating the deity out. We talk about, we should not use our saliva, the needle, the thread, try to avoid those. We should not use it because it becomes contaminated. It's muchi. It's not very good, and we should not put anything on the floor. Sometimes, people like to cross over the leg over the harmonium, kartal, mridanga. That is not nice because this is Balaram themselves. All the items paraphernalia actually is Lord Balaram. So we should be very, very careful, right? We should not be contaminated on the floor, or should be placed in the right place, right? Kartal on the floor like that. We should not do in the same way. We should be very careful. The paraphernalia, the items we are going to offer to the Lord should be proper. And the flowers that we are going to offer should be actually fragrant. So, actually, many times, it has to be fragrant flower. Krishna loves fragrant flower. So we should, and it should not be contaminated, right? So very, very important. So other part is austerity. Somebody wants to leave. There are a lot of questions. Anangamohini, would you like to leave? Please go ahead.
Yeah, I can read, Prabhuji. Austerity. A devotee's sadhana must include some basic austerities like rising early in the morning, bathing in cold water, regulation of food and drink, regulation of one's association, minimizing bodily comforts and possessions, and so on. These have been covered earlier. B. An important austerity for devotee is to fast on certain specified days like Ekadashi, on important festivals and disappearance days of acharyas. Mana prasada somyatvan mano atma vinigraha bhava samudhir iti itat tapo manasam uchyat. Bhagavad Gita 17.16. And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind. Shraddhaya paraya tapatam tapastatra tat trividham nare अपहलकक्षिभिर yukte satvikam परिचक्षते. Bhagavad Gita 17.17. These threefold austerities performed with transcendental faith by men, not expecting material benefits but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity and goodness.
Thank you, Mata. So actually, again, in the beginning, we talked about last time what austerity is a part of life. Nobody can skip out of austerity. We all are doing austerity somehow. We want it, we don't want it. You don't like to go to work, but we are being austere, waking up, doing so many things just to go to job, cook, feed the kids. So much austerity we have to do. Because austerity is something that it's inconvenience. You are trying to put voluntarily doing the inconvenience, but it has to be for the right purpose, right? As here it says that it should be the sake of the Supreme Lord, and that's the right austerity and goodness. Actually, there are a lot of different category of austerity as it described in Bhagavad Gita. We don't want to go on that, but we should be actually most focused on austerity that is favorable for Krishna consciousness. Right? There is a beautiful verse: "Aradito yedi hari tapasya tatkin." Naradito yedi hari tapasya tatkin. What is the point if you're already worshiping the Lord? What is the use of austerity? But if you are doing austerity, but there is no worship of the Lord, what kind of austerity is it, right? So that's what austerity has to connect. Austerity means or meant for the supreme pleasure. That is the main basic principles of doing austerity, right? So we should be very focused on performing we have we should do fasting till noon during a lot of disappearance and appearance day of acharyas. A lot of festivals we have, like a lot of appearance of the Lord, Janmashtami, Ram Navami, Ekadashi, the Chaturmas, it's gonna come. So all this we have to do fasting on this kind of day. And go quickly, Ekadashi. Somebody wants to read?
I can read for you.
Yes. Sir.
Austerity. See, Ekadashi. Ekadashi is 11th day of the both waxing and waning moon, and thus it comes twice in each month. It is a day of austerity regularly observed by Vaishnavas. The basic principle is not just to fast, but to increase one's faith and love for Krishna. Hence, all devotees must observe Ekadashi fasts. The real reason for observing fasting on Ekadashi is minimize the demands of the body and engage our mind in devotional service. The fasting is to be broken the next day, that is the Dwadashi, during the Parai. A timing is given in a Vaishnava calendar. It is advised that one may chant more and also try to remember the pastimes of the Lord. On Ekadashi, one should strictly avoid eating grains and beans. If one can follow complete fasting, abstaining from both the food and drink, and still perform one's duty and responsibility, then one may do so. However, ours is a preaching mission, and if a completed fasting impedes our service or preaching, it should not be followed. One may then consume the minimum food and drink essential to maintain one's service. One must try to observe complete fast on Nirjala Bhima Ekadashi.
Thank you, bro. So again, it's focused on a very special day, the Ekadashi. This is one of the favorite day of the Lord. So this actually helps us to increase our bhakti, right? As Tulsi Maharani Bhakti Pradhani, Ekadashi actually is one of the blessed day, blessed day where our bhakti performance in that particular day can enhance our bhakti multiple times. So in this particular day, it's more about increasing more bhakti, doing more spiritual practice, and minimizing the bodily demands. So actually, in each and Ekadashi, if someone can stay full fast, that is the best. So if they cannot, because we have so much engagement, we have work, we might be so much tired. Because in Kali Yuga, so many things are like difficult. But we should always avoid eating grains and beans on this particular day, right? And especially on the Nirjala Ekadashi, that's a Vahimi Ekadashi, that's a one day in a year, we should try to completely fast that particular day. Very, very important. It is said that if one observe fasting on that particular day, on Bhimi Ekadashi or Nirjala Ekadashi, who fasting without water, it can get all the benefits of all the Ekadashi of entire year. So we should at least try to do that, right? So we should also do not forget, and also we also have Vaishnav calendar. We have actually in our website also. If you go to our calendar, iskonbergen.org/calendar, you get all the fasting, all the festivals, when to break the fast. Everything is given to us, and all many apps are there which can facilitate you to tell you when to break the fast, when is the fasting. Try to have that handy on the phone. It will be very, very helpful. Please do that. Thank you so much. So next is Australia continue. Somebody?
I can read.
Yes, please. Yes, Dhananjay bro.
Austerity. Ekadashi is a day of fasting observed by all devotees. Srila Prabhupada usually observed Ekadashi fast in the simplest manner prescribed in the scriptures by refraining from eating grains, beans, peas, and dal. Some devotees eat only fruit on Ekadashi. Some take only water, and some fully fast. This is called Nirjala Vrata. All devotees must avoid the following food on Ekadashi: all grains, wheat, rice, etc., dal, peas, bean type vegetables, mustard seeds, and their derivatives, wheat, flour, mustard oil, etc., and food items containing these products. Be careful in using powdered spices. If mixed with flour, they cannot be used on Ekadashi. Also, one should avoid powdered asafoetida since it contains grain. Sesame seeds are also to be avoided, except on Sattila Ekadashi, when they may be offered and eaten. One who is very strictly observing Ekadashi should avoid all spices except pepper, rock salt, and cumin. Do not use any cooking ingredients that might be mixed with grains, such as ghee that has been used to fry puris, or, or spices touched by hands dusted with, chap, with chapati flour. Try to use fresh ghee on Ekadashi. Ekadashi fast is broken the next day, Dwadeshi, by taking prasadam prepared with grains. The fast must be broken within a specific time. For dates of Ekadashi and times for breaking fast, consult the Vaishnava calendar available from ISKCON Center. The real purpose of Ekadashi observance is, however, not simply to fast, but to increase our time for hearing and chanting about Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada recommended that devotees can chant 25 or more rounds of japa on Ekadashi. Shaving and cutting nails is also forbidden on Ekadashi.
Thank you, bro. So we can see that again, it is much more emphasized what kind of items we should avoid, not to eat. Try to not eat anything from outside. Is not recommend. It's not recommend, sometime you might say, oh, there is no grains on this. There is potato chips. That's is Ekadashi. Rather not to take that risk. Do not try to always avoid food outside, from outside pack. Avoid it. Even the spices here, very minimum spices, cumin seed, pepper, rock salt, very very minimal spices, ghee, also oil also we have, there's a very specific oil also you can use, right? But we should minimize things that is like, can be common, like mix of spices like that. If you grind, like haldi also, if you have grind original haldi, then that can be used. So try to avoid, like things that can contaminate, like mix with grains or something. Very very important to be focused on. So again, we should try to break the fast. We can also get Jagannath rice, one of the best thing to break the fast. So many devotees actually have Jagannath rice from Lord Jagannath Puri. So we can actually, if you have somebody is traveling or something, they can get the Jagannath rice. They can stay for ever. They can have 1 or 2 grains while breaking their fast during the specific time or Parayan time. So please do that. Thank you. Just wanted to move on faster. So, austerity, somebody wants to read again, continue.
I can read Prabhu.
Yes, Pandit, please.
Chaturmasya. Traditionally, this 4-month period of the monsoon season is the time when sadhus would reside at the one place and not travel. The prescribed austerity is the 4 month as given in the table below. A month and items to be avoided. First, asala, green leafy vegetables. Second, Bhadrapada, yogurt. Third, Ashwina, milk. And fourth, Kartika, urad dal.
There is another special day is called 4 month. It's a Chaturmas. So it starts generally in Devashayini Ekadashi and ends on Devi Utthana Ekadashi. Utthana Ekadashi you can see. And in this 4 month period, like starts in Ashad generally. So we should try to avoid green leafy vegetables during the time. In the second Bhadrapada or Bhadra, you should try to avoid yogurt food item, and in Ashwin, in milk, and Kartik urad dal. I think many devotees sometimes, like in center. So if somebody is leading the cooking, we should be I think mindful about it. That, like somebody might be fasting. We have seen, like okay, in Ekadashi Kartik, and somebody making urad dal, right? And we don't know, like somebody takes, somebody might even don't know what is urad dal, right? And in the family they are fasting, but in the temple they might break the fast. So it will not become very nice and favorable. So we should be careful. Actually, we should try to avoid even cooking, right? Cooking items we take. We should try to minimize, like these things to happen, right? So we should note that, like a shard, we should try to avoid, like sag and all those items during a short time. Bhadrapada, like no yogurt items like fruit salad and all those things. Try to avoid it. And milk items, like try to avoid it. And definitely in Kartik Urada. So, somebody wants to read again? Favorable principle and unfavorable principle. The unfavorable one.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Unfavorable. Srila Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction, verses 2 and 3, one's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, practicing the spiritual rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not following regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. Number 6, being greedy for mundane achievements.
Atyahara prayasaccha prajalpo nimagraha janasangascha lodhyam cha sadhir bhakti vinashyati. So actually, this principles are very powerful principles, very powerful. So Rupa Goswami actually have spent very wonderful time on this few verses, 11 verses, I think, in the instructions, and very powerful verses. And these verses actually summarize entire bhakti, how we can cultivate and grow in bhakti, right? And atyahara, like we should not whatever based on our body demands, we should take, right? We should not like try to acquire more. Oh, I want more and more and more, and we so much effort and time we actually spend just for that, and our bhakti becomes behind because so much time, effort you are trying to spend for this external thing, right? The mundane things, right? And on top of these are difficult to obtain. I want to achieve this, that. I want to get more money. I want to have this. So many things, and we work like a donkey. It says, right? And what happens? Neither we can do bhakti, right? Na bhakti, na. There's a very beautiful poet actually in Nepal, right? Samsara rahasya nisa samana jude rahadani ayana jnana. आखिर श्री कृष्ण भगवान रहे एक ना भक्ति ना भोग विवेक. Neither we have bhakti, neither we intelligence. We don't have time because there's so much time doing so many mundane things. So we should utilize time. Time is so valuable for all of us. We have understood that, right? And we should utilize all the time, wasting time on unnecessary about mundane subject matters, right? We should do just for the sake of doing. We try to do some rituals, some rules and regulation, because I have to do it, otherwise it doesn't look nice. Or maybe Lord will be like, not happy. Just one. No, we should not be doing based on whimsically or just for the sake of doing, right? Until we do like that, then it just becomes rituals. It can really never transform our heart. Never, right? And we also should not be greedy for mundane achievements. Somebody can read the favorable.
Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, please. So,
The favorable. There are 6 principles favorable to execution of devotional service. Number 1, being enthusiastic. Number 2, endeavoring with confidence. Number 3, being patient. Number 4, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. Abandoning the association of non-devotees and following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure complete success of pure devotional service.
Thank you, Mother. It gives a conviction that undoubtedly assure complete success. We should be always enthusiastic in performing bhakti. Very important actually. And when we be enthusiastic so many sometimes, and with practicing, and we want to definitely endeavor, I want to achieve this in this lifetime, or this practice. I want to start from 1 round this year. I want to jump to 4 rounds, 8 rounds. That endeavoring with confidence has to be there too, right? But it needs patience. Sometimes I want to see Krishna. This tomorrow I'm going to, in this Ekadashi, I'm going to chant 192 rounds, 64 rounds. I want to see Krishna. It doesn't work like that. You need patience, right? Transformation takes time because we have been contaminated for lifetime, life after life. So much contamination we have. So it needs dhairya. The patience also required, right? And it has to be done based on the regular principles. As in the beginning, I was explaining about following the Shastra, 9 process of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Sparanam, Pada Sevanam, Dashyam, right? All these things actually help to enhance our bhakti. And always abandon or not associate with non-devotees, right? Follow the footsteps of previous acharya. Very important principle. Even Krishna says this principle. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsevdu. Krishna says you have to follow the parampara. You can just get Krishna just like that. You have to follow through the acharyas, through guru, right? Through devotees. That's how you get Krishna. If I say like, I want to get Krishna directly, I don't want this guru business. I don't want devotees. I would just want to catch Krishna just by my power. Krishna have no interest on us like that way. Because this is a process of recommendation. We are not qualified. We're not qualified. And to be pure, it sticks. They're saying the mind of yogi even cannot catch Krishna. What about us? We're so far away. That's why we need to take shelter of devotees. There's no other way. So again, we will, I think, quickly finish this and we'll jump on. Can somebody read?
Yeah, I can read it again.
Yes, Ashik.
J. Brahmanas, devotees who have second Brahman Diksha should strictly chant the Gayatri mantra. B. Every endeavor must be made to learn the principles and practice of deity worship. K. Importance of time. Please remember, number 1, every moment of human life is very precious. So we should not waste a single moment. Number 2, we should make every endeavor to see that we are engaged as much as possible in the devotional service of the Lord. Number 3, the great benediction we have received should not be wasted. Ayusha char ekopi sarvaratner labhyate nayate tat pratha yen pramada sumahanaho. Hare Krishna. Even if you surrender all the jewels that you possess, you will not get back a single second of the time that has passed away in your life. When such is the case, those who are wasting their time, what a blunder they are committing.
You see that at the Brahminical initiation, who has Brahminical trade, it is recommended they chant their Gayatri mantras 3 times, 3 sandhyas. They should do it. And the Brahmanas also should practice and learn deity worship, right? Very, very important too. So please do that. Actually, we do training for the devotees, like who get second initiation to do deity worship, mantras, all those things. So they can always connect. We can devotees can train. So we have Padma Prabhu who trains devotees for that. And also like an importance of time. Beautiful verse we can see here. Ayusachana ekopi sarvaratne labhyate. Time is so valuable, and even you can give like millions and millions of jewels, but you can even get back a single second of time. And if we don't utilize this, sometimes it's so valuable. How you treasure it, how you use it. You try to use it so wisely, right? In the same way, we should use time in a very proper way, right? So every time we use should be like the yogis, every prana should be offered to the Lord, every prana, or every breath, right? We might not be in that level, but if we are engaging, even we are cleaning, we are doing something. Actually, we are doing that, right? That's how it should be. The time has to be utilized, right? Even you are working, that's for Krishna. Ultimately, like I want to engage in the service of Krishna in that mode. If we do that. Right, so this is a great benediction we have. We have come to Krishna consciousness. We are so fortunate, right? Our Brahma Bhavana Loka Punaravarti Arjuna, right? Even from Lord Brahma we can fall down, right? But Brahmane Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan ji, who is the most fortunate person? Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Biz. By the mercy of Guru who has received the Bhakti Lata, right? Connection to Krishna. Those are the most fortunate people, and we should not waste this. Now, at least we are coming to understand that Krishna consciousness is such a valuable thing. We have to practice bhakti. There is nothing, because we have to die one day. Nothing we're going to take, but only bhakti we have. So, understanding that, please focus in our bhakti process and do not waste time. Utilize time as much as possible. That's why the whole thing we talk discussing about is utilizing time, doing the fasting, doing japa, doing all these things, utilizing time, engaging ourselves in bhakti. So I'll just skip this to three part. We'll just jump on as the effort of time is 10:44. So other principle is visiting holy place, right? Um, um, the holy place is something that it actually connect us to Krishna, his pastimes, the Leela, right? So these are the places where Lord has done his activities with his devotees. He has done so many things, and it actually brings us closer to God, closer to the Lord, right? We have so many beautiful holy places: Badrikashram, Jagannath Puri, Ayodhya, Mathura, you name it. Beautiful, beautiful holy places. Vrindavan, even inside Vrindavan, so many places, right? Right, and that's what a holy place brings, a connection to us. It is said that, like, as a grihast also, we should always try to travel once in a year, try to go to holy place, so that we can imbibe, we can meditate that throughout the year, right? Those past and those place, and meditate on them, right? It can connect us to Krishna, right? And uh, even, like, in vanaprastha ashram is highly recommended. Actually, one should actually stay in dhama, right? And engage much more with husband and wife, much more deeper, going in dhama, doing yatras, studying. So those are the things one should practice, right? So if someone can read, Aradhya Radhika Mataji, want to read?
Traveling together in pilgrimage to the various holy places is an important and eagerly awaited element of Vaishnava lifestyle. One should plan well and tie up loose ends in one's domestic and official responsibilities so that one can minimize worrisome thoughts during the yatra. The idea is that one should prepare oneself for completely immersing the mind in the holy name and Krishna Katha. Such yatras are meant for spiritual purification, and thus there should be no prajalpa and frivolous behavior. There should be only Krishna Katha and holy name. Devotees should freely and lovingly associate with one another, avoiding tendency to form groups according to prior acquaintance. Devotees should willingly comply with any rules and discipline that may laid down for the yatra. This will help in not making the organizing effort, not only making the organizing effort easier, but also will create a better atmosphere. Particularly, devotees should follow rules regarding timing for reassembling after a break and staying together, not dispersing here and there. Devotees should never lag behind, but should be all together at all times. One should be willing to bear austerity and inconveniences without complaining. Suggestions, if any, regarding the manual suggestions, if any, regarding the manual of Vaishnava etiquette and lifestyle, arrangement, travel plans, etc., may be submitted humbly to the proper persons. Criticism and complaints simply spoil the atmosphere of the yatra.
So we can see that the visiting of holy places is so much important, right? As in the beginning I was telling, it is a part of our devotees' lifestyle, actually, holy places, right? And one should, like, plan. Actually, even ISKCON Bergen annually we are taking different holy places. Like, recently we went to New Vrindavan. It was really amazing. So when devotee come together, right, and when we allow the lead who is managing everything, and try to be favorable and try to follow, not try to, like, try to undisciplinedly doing so many events, not trying to be in a part of the group, doing so many things, actually creates very, the mood gets very disturbed, right? The whole mood is actually, the holy dham actually brings us, all of us together. We know each other much more closer. Nepal, it's called Nepal, thousands of devotees, they travel in different places. So it connects from different branches of places. They know each other. Oh, from you from this center. And even like when we traveled this time, we were much more closer. We came to know certain devotees much more closer, right? And that actually enhances, right, the yatras, right? And these yatras are made for spiritual purification, right? And we should try to avoid unnecessary talks. It just destroys the mood. It just redirect us in, again, the way what we are trying to get out of the visit of holy place becomes again something different, right? So we should try to avoid that, bring a proper mood and environment. And also we always should comply, right? As I said, with the rules and discipline, they have been laid down, what should be done and not to done, right? And we should also, again, this is also part of austerity. Oh, I didn't get this facility, I have no proper room to stay, what it is, so it's all about the yatra itself is austerity, right? We perform austerity. The holy place means to us to perform austerity, right? Many devotees, when they do Brajmandal Parikrama, they don't wear shoes. It's very tough. Actually, I had that experience doing yatra in 2003. It's very tough, and people do that, and that's what we mean to do, austerities, right? And we should follow the manual, right? A proper lifestyle that is arranged for us, and always we should avoid criticism. Oh, ye theek nahi tha, wo theek nahi tha, this was not right, that was not right. That will completely spoil the mood of the yatra, and when we involve other devotees also, it's completely bekar. I never want to go to this place. I don't want to go with this group, these people. It becomes a wrong mood. So we should try to avoid that. Somebody can read. So we are in the second last slide. Anybody will try to quickly finish. Anybody?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes. So Prabhu, when you go ahead.
Okay, I will read it. Visiting holy places, one should not try to join the yatra at the last minute. Announcements are made well in advance, and one should submit one's name and the money, Lakshmi, to the organizers by the stipulated date. One should not recommend names of people who are very new or not so sincere or who are not following the basic regulative principles. One should stay with the devotees for the whole yatra. No independent plans should be made to travel to other places or do other jobs during the yatra. Every single devotee should contribute to maintain a high spiritual tempo. Even one unenthusiastic or lazy devotee has a disturbing influence on the mood of the yatra. One should be eager to lend a helping hand in serving the devotees and simply be content with receiving a chance to render service. Devotees should not buy special foodstuffs from outside for themselves. The spirit of yatra should be to eat and live together as one family. One should be careful not to commit offenses against the holy dham. If during the yatra the devotees together visit ISKCON or Gaudiya Math temples, we must very carefully respect the principles and the policies of the temple. For instance, in ISKCON temples, we should not chant any guru's name except Srila Prabhupada's. We should avoid any form of argumentation.
Thank you, Prabhu. So again, we should be very careful. We should not try to join in last minute, because, for example, we have a bus, 50-seater bus, and oh, my other family wants to join. Please, it is spoil everything. We have to push, we have to adjust. All the other devotees has to sacrifice because of that. We have to be very careful. If it is, we have to be very even approaching those kind of thing also. We should, there is any space, we should not try to enforce. And also Lakshmi also should be submitted at the right time. Very important, so that they can pay all the fees and everything fair, different place, the hotels to stay. everything can be paid properly on time. And also, like, when we try to recommend, I've seen, like, in Vrindavan Yatra, sometimes, like, people, the yatra is going on and somebody like smoking over there on the side because they have habit of smoking. It's just they are in a dhoti, kuta, tilak, and they're smoking. When other people say, "Oh, this is a group," like, what kind of devotee is it? It is, right? It's really puts a very wrong impact. Or drinking tea, you know, all these things. So we have to be very careful, like whom we are taking to the yatra. I mean, we are sentimental. I just want to take someone, but at least for during that time, follow a proper sincere principles, right? That is very, very important, right? And also, we should not make like an independent plans. Oh, I'm going to do it. You are part of the group. You may not make a separate plan. Right? We are going in a team. We do everything in a team, and that's it, right? Because if we make separate ideas, separate plan, then what happens? The whole mood becomes different, right? So we should not try to encourage ourselves in that particular mood, and we should always try to help, because in traveling, many devotees might need help. Like, some might be like, old, some might need case sick. So many things can happen. So we should always lend our helping hand, and that's what is devotees for. Like, bring that particular mood all the time, and always try to share, live, eat together, stay together. That's one of the most important principle while we go together in yatra. And we should also not try to commit offenses in Holy Dham, which we are going to read for the offenses to Holy Dham. And also during the yatra, we might visit so many temples, so many places. We might be practicing different kind of principles, different kind of aspect of understanding. So we should not perform any kind of offenses over there, right? And we should not be argumentative on the philosophy, this and that in any temple, right? So they might have different. Like if you go to Sri Rangam, there are so many devotees in Ramanuja Sampradaya. They might have some philosophical, different understanding than us. We should not debate, oh, this is how it is, or like that. It's not a place. You're going for certain thing. That's how we go. Go to that, seek blessing, and that's it, right? So final, the 10 offenses to against the holy name, so holy dham. Sorry. So if somebody wants to read,
I can read,
so
Prabhuji.
please go ahead. Thank you.
Number 1, contempt and disrespect towards the Guru, who is a revealer of the Dharma, Dhamma to his disciple. Number 2, to think about the holy Dhamma is temporary. To commit violence towards any of the resident of the holy Dham, or to any of the pilgrims who come there, or to think that they are ordinary, mundane people. Perform mundane activities while living in the holy place. Number 5, earning money by making a business of deity worship and the chanting of the holy name. 6, to think that the holy dham belong to some mundane country, or to provide such as, or to provide province such as Bengal, or think that the dham of the Lord is equal to a holy place connected with some demigod, or to attempt to measure the area of dham. 7, to commit sinful acts while residing in dham. 8, to consider Vrindavana and Navadvipaka to be different. 9, to blaspheme the Shastra which glorify the Dham. 10, to be faithful and think that the glories of Dham are imaginary.
Faithless and think that the glories of my man. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. So again, these are the 10 offenses that we should avoid while traveling to Holy Dham. We should again never disrespect to Guru, right? Sometimes we might just say, like, might be argumentative. Somebody is Siksha Guru, Vatmapatiksha Guru. We should always, and Diksha Guru definitely. So never try to disrespect them in Dham. It's one of the biggest offenses. I mean, it's a Vaishnav Prat plus undoing on the Dham, it's the worst, right? And also to think that Dham is temporary, This also happens, and also the devotees, the people living in holy Dham, and devotees that are traveling, right, and think that they are ordinary people, and try to offend them, argue with them. Sometimes they fight with them, with the holy place. We should avoid this. It's very wrong to do that, and also try to do some mundane activities. Not favorable for Krishna consciousness. Try not to do it, and also it's not a place to doing business, right? We are there for holy thing, holy place, in a holy day, right? So try to be holy at least, right, while being in the tham. So that is very important. And also we should not think that, this is Indian place, this is like, or South Indian place. We should not be connecting the holy dham with, like, region or province, and connect with the material thing, you know, and that said we avoid it, and we should not again commit sin. Definitely, that is in Dham, and we should not compare. Oh, Badrikashram is better than Vrindavan. Oh, Jagannath-puri is better. No, we never compare. All holy Dham is equally potent, right? There is no comparison. We should not be think that they are different, right? All holy Dham are the places of Lord. Lord has done pastime, so everything is equal, right? And we should not blaspheme the Shastra, right? That purifies the Dhamma, and we should not be like, it is, and to think that the glories of Dhamma are imagined. Oh, like, there's so many glories that happen. Oh, is this imagination? Is this, falsifying? There's so much exaggerations. So that's also should not be done. So thank you again. So sorry for taking a long time. Hare Krishna. Ends our Vaishnav etiquette. Hare Hare.
Amazing class, Prabhuji. Haribo. So, if everyone has any questions, please ask and make sure to stay. We're gonna have the Ekadashi story. But first we can do our questions and answers.
Prabhuji, I have one question on the last slide, the number 5, where it says that for DT service or DT puja, like, no one should make a business. But in many temples, right, we see that there are different entry tickets or, VIP services. How it is different than this?
So as we are a traveler, right, and like, as a traveler in terms of going to holy places, and those who are like, staying there, like, residents or the temple there, definitely they can do certain kind of business, but not for us. That should not be our goal. Oh, I'm going to go holy dham, I'm going to make money, I want to do this, I want to, like, I have some products I want to sell over there. That should not be the idea. That's for us who are visiting the holy place. But those people who are staying there, that is a residence, like, who are full time living in the holy place, just to maintain, they can definitely do the business, right? So that is required to maintain. But us as
Okay.
a citrus for the holy place, we have to be careful. That should not be our goal, right?
Got it, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So I think we have very less time. Can I think jump on Ekadashi story?
Okay, so if anyone else had any other questions, you can feel free to text Prabhuji or ask him in the center. I know I learned a lot about Ekadashi today, Prabhuji. And speaking of Ekadashi, tomorrow, when you break your fast, it's going to be 6:43 a.m. to 9:58 a.m. So make sure you break your fast in that time. And like Prabhuji said, if you have Jagannath rice, that'll be your best way to break it. And some announcements. This Saturday we have the Govardhan Food Festival. I'm very excited about this. I'm sure you all are as well. And everyone, please come. There's gonna be dramas presented by the Sunday schoolers. There's gonna be food, prasad, and on Sunday we have Diwali. And we're gonna be celebrating it, and we're gonna have our Sunday feast program. And on Monday, we have our Govardhan Puja at the center. So we're going to have a very packed weekend. and hopefully we'll all be there. So now we will do the Ekadashi story. So everyone please stay on. Okay, just sharing it.
You want to share? Okay.
And
In our website, we have all the Ekadashi stories. So if devotees wants to go, they can utilize that also. We have all the facility that is being provided.
sorry, Prabhuji, my share screen is currently acting up. Is anyone who else is co-host, if you're able to? Oh, perfect. There we go. So we can all, you can start sharing, and please read like 2 to 3 paragraphs each. So whoever wants to start first, you can start reading from Yudhishthira Maharaj.
Let me start. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, "O Janardhan, what is the name of the Ekadashi that comes during the dark fortnight of the month of Kartik, October to November? Please narrate to me its history and glories." The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna said, "This Ekadashi is called Rama Ekadashi. It is the most auspicious, for it eradicates the greatest sins and awards one the passage to the spiritual abode. There was once a famous king named Muchakunda, whose daughter Chandrabhaga was married to Shobhana, the son of Chandrasena. Shobhana once visited his father-in-law's palace on the Ekadashi day. As he was weak, he was unable to bear the day-long fast.
Someone else can continue now.
Chandrabhaga told him, "In my father's house, nobody eats on Ekadashi. None of the animals are given grains, leaves, straw, or even water. If you want to eat, then you should leave at once." Shobhana said, "I have decided to fast on Ekadashi day. Whatever my fate is, it will surely come to pass." Shobhana fasted, but he suffered excessive hunger and thirst. Eventually, when the sun rose on the Dvadashi, he was dead. Chandrabhaga, after performing all the procedures for honoring her deceased husband, continued to live in her father's house. Lord Sri Krishna continued, "Yudhishthira, even though Shobhana died because of observing Rama Ekadashi, the merit that he accrued enabled him, after his death, to become the ruler of a kingdom on Mandarachala mountain. This kingdom was like a city of the demigods."
I can read. Soma Sharma, a Brahmin who lived in a Muchakunda kingdom, come upon Shobhana's kingdom while traveling. On seeing Shobhana, he was surprised. The king Shobhana told him that as he had observed the Rama Ekadasi, he was given the splendid city to rule over, but it was only temporary. He said that as he observed the Rama Ekadasi, without any faith, this kingdom was not permanent. He asked the Brahmin to meet Chandrabhaga and tell her what he had seen and understood about this place, as he thought that she should possibly make his kingdom permanent.
The Brahmin. Yeah.
Sorry about the G.
Oh, that's okay.
The Brahmin returned and related the entire episode to Chandrabhaga, who was overjoyed to hear this news of her husband. Chandrabhaga then said that she greatly desired to see her husband again, and she could make his kingdom permanent with the merit she had acquired, by fasting on every Ekadasi throughout her life. Soma Sharma then led Chandrabhaga to Shobhana's kingdom. On the way, they stopped at the sacred ashram of Vamadev. Upon hearing their story, Vamadev chanted hymns from the Vedas and sprinkled holy water upon Chandrabhaga. By these rites, the merit she had accrued by fasting for so many Ekadashis made her body transcendental. When Shobhana saw his wife on Mount Mandarachala, he called out to her in great happiness. She then told him, "From the time I was 8 years old, I have fasted regularly and with full faith on every Ekadashi. If I transfer to you all the merit I have accumulated, your kingdom will surely become permanent."
Chandrabhaga at last enjoyed happiness with her husband by the potency of Rama Ekadashi. Shobhana found his kingdom on the peak of Mount Mandrachal and was able to fulfill all his desires. O greatest of kings, I have narrated to you the glories of Rama Ekadashi that falls in the dark fortnight of the month of Kartik. Thus ends the narration of the glories of the sacred Kartik Krishna Ekadashi or Rama Ekadashi from the Brahma Vaivat Puran of Srila Krishna Dvapayana Veda Vyasa. Rama Ekadashi ki jai.
Yay. Okay, so dear devotees, let's all just say Hari Bol 3 more times, and then we can end off this amazing night. Hari Bol!
Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.